Have you ever wondered why old men tell lies? Because for me, when we were much younger, we felt that old people don't tell lies. And to a very large extent, we were right because old men then, old people generally, elders, were very, very responsible and they were not lying. Whatever they told you was true. But today, we see old men that lie through their teeth. They lie even more than the devil himself. And we are going to examine one of them. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our channel. This is Nelly's TV, where we bring you news and history analysis for your own enlightenment and information. So, if you have not subscribed to our channel, please, we crave your indulgence to do so. Hit the subscribe button, like our videos, and share them so that more videos will come your way and we will be encouraged to do more. Thank you once again and welcome to our channel. So today we are going to be looking at one man who happens to be an old man but a very big time liar. Okay, look at him here. This man you see here, you see his face, he is a criminal, a very big time war criminal. His name is Yakubu Gowon. He has no integrity. No atom of integrity in his life, this man. He's a very big liar. He was the president of Nigeria, that is the military head of state of Nigeria, during the genocide that claimed more than 3 million lives on the part of Biafrans. And these more than 3 million people who lost their lives were mostly women and children. This man you see here, his name is Yakubu Gowon from Plateau State of Nigeria. He's not even a Fulani, but he was working for Fulani and Britain. He was the main person that led the war and caused that war crime. He's a war criminal here. You see him. He's supposed to be arrested by ICC and jailed, no matter how old he is. He's an evil man. So we're going to be listening to him because recently he has been going around saying all manner of rubbish instead of looking for a way to reconcile with the people he hurt. This man is still lying, going about lying, trying to paint cosmetic on the evil he did on Igbos and Biafrans in general. So the man that is going to rubbish him today is a man known as Sir Victor Ume. Sir Victor Ume was once a factional leader of APGA. APGA means All Progressives Grand Alliance, a party in Nigeria that was led by this able gentleman here, Dim Chukwemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu. It was his political party when he was alive, and he contested under that party when he tried to see if he could contribute in repairing Nigeria. But unfortunately, it wasn't possible. He couldn't, they wouldn't even give him the opportunity. Okay, so let's listen to Victor Ume, how he flaws this war criminal you see here. Just listen up.
I listened to Gowon's interview with Charles and Agolo of Arise News. That's a television. That's why I said we should come. I listened to him, and I felt so sorry with the things he said. The reason being that at 91 years.
Sorry about it. Let's start afresh because the volume was low initially. Let's start afresh.
I listened to Gowon's interview with Charles and Agolo of Arise News. That's a television. That's why I said we should come. I listened to him, and I felt so sorry with the things he said. The reason being that at 91 years of age, I shouldn't be joining issues with him. But I remember that when Babangida launched his book and made revelations in that his book, I was on television again, I think it was Arise News, to speak on the fallout of that book launch, wherein I challenged Gowon to write his own book about the Civil War.
Okay, so he's talking about the book that Babangida, former head of state, launched, where he actually gave a rundown of his autobiography, his memoir, and narrated a lot of things there, including the issue that led up to the first military coup in Nigeria, which was a wickedly branded Igbo coup by BBC. And that Igbo coup narrative had lasted for many years until last year, 2024, when Babangida wrote his memoir and clearly stated there that that the so-called Igbo coup was not an Igbo coup because people from other tribes of Nigeria also participated in it. So that's what Sir Victor May is saying here, that when Babangida presented the book, he challenged Gowon to also write his own. So we see his own version of the story, since the truth is beginning to come out from the powers that be that hitherto deceived the rest of Nigerians with false narratives against Igbos. Listen up.
Because Babangida stated clearly that the coup wasn't an Igbo coup. The
Yeah.
Igbo people have suffered gravely because of that coup.
Mhm.
A coup that was plotted to bring Awolowo out of prison and make him president of Nigeria. The actors had written their books, and that was their common program. And the coup didn't succeed. And the Igbos have been put to the wall because of it. I felt that with Babangida's clear statement that it wasn't an Igbo coup, and he named Yorubas and Northerners were part of that coup. It was a big relief to me, and I challenged Gowon to write his own book, so Nigerians will read. So I was
So Sir Victor May was challenging Gowon to write his own book. And why will he write it? Even if he writes it, and in fact, I don't even see that call as necessary, okay? Because being a very big time blatant liar, if Gowon decides to write his own book, he's going to lie a lot. Most of the things he will say will contradict what Babangida said. Babangida said a lot of truth in his own book, probably because he's looking at the grave and he wants to see if he could mend fences as much as possible. But this man you see here is a big time criminal, and he claims to be a Christian, going about saying that he's running a fellowship called Nigeria Praise. Nigeria Praise for who? When you are the one, the chief destroyer of Nigeria. You're saying Nigeria Praise, and yet you can't even say a simple truth.
therefore disappointed that yesterday he granted an interview which showed the sign of dementia on his part. At 91, he appeared to have forgotten the things that happened. But some of us who worked with Ojuku and interviewed him,
Well, I think Sir Victor May was trying to be kind with his words here. He said that at 91, Gowon seems to have forgotten what happened. He is not forgetting anything. He didn't forget any damn thing during the interview. He remembered everything, but he chose to lie through his teeth. But let's listen to Sir Victor May. He did justice to the subject.
and got the records of what happened at that time, disagree with all the things he said. One is that it was a big lie for him to say that the war was not against the Igbo people of Nigeria.
Good. You had the first lie. The first lie he told in the interview he granted, I mean the interview this man granted, he lied. The first lie was that he said that the war that which was typically a genocide, that it wasn't against the Igbos, the Igbo people of Nigeria. It is a lie. It is a pure lie. So if it wasn't against Igbos, who were there bombing? Who were there unaliving? Who were there annihilating? Which territory were there throwing their bombs and asking their soldiers to go and shoot people? Where was that? Okay, you clearly unalived more than 3 million persons from a particular ethnic group, and you say it wasn't against them. What else could be called a lie and deceit?
What can be further from the truth? They said he was in Abeokuta. He wasn't in Abeokuta, and he heard about the insurrection in Abeokuta, and he was somewhere, and suddenly he saw how it ended. It snowballed into assassination of Agbo Ironsi. That he wasn't part of the coup. He didn't know
The second one is about the coup, the counter coup. After the first coup on 15 January 1966, the North planned a counter coup that took place on 29th of July, the same 1966. And the coup saw to the swearing in of this criminal here, into power as the military head of state. Okay, and Aguiyi, who was um, acting as the head of state after the first coup, was annihilated. He was eliminated. All right, and this man became the next military head of state. So he said he was somewhere, he didn't know about the coup, but he just saw himself sworn into the position of the head of state of Nigeria. What a lie! What a lie for a man at 91. This is terrible there. That is Nigeria for you. What Nigeria can make you to become.
Anything about it, but he later emerged as head of state after the coup, counter coup was organized. That is somebody telling lies. And for him to say that the war was not against the Igbo people, I thought by now he should be apologizing to the Igbo people for the role he played in that civil war.
Exactly. That's what an intelligent person should be doing at this point. He's already looking at his grave. Instead of him looking for a way to reconcile with Igbos, apologize to them for the evil he did, he's still lying. Is he trying to apply cosmetic? I heard one of the things he said there. He said that it wasn't his intention to go to the war. So that the decision to go to war wasn't his, that he was influenced to do that. So who influenced you? Go on. He will not say, he will not talk. I know that the very first force that made him to decide to start that war was Britain. Okay, Britain liaised with Fulanis in the north, the powers that be in the north, to influence this man to break down law and order and go into war against the Biafrans. But now he can't say it. He's trying to hide the truth.
Instead of coming here to challenge our sensibilities, that I think insult, not challenging, insulting our sensibilities,
Of course, he was insulting the sensibilities of Igbos and Biafrans.
that the war was not against the Igbos. Who were the victims of the war?
Were
The
the
counter
victims.
coup was a cleansing of the Igbo officers in the Nigerian army. Igbo
Exactly.
officers, you know, he couldn't say those who were killed from.
Because after the counter coup on 29th of July 1966, most high-ranking military officers of Igbo extraction were eliminated, completely eliminated. All right, and that made Igbos to lose a lot of their finest soldiers, and yet it wasn't against the Igbos.
From his own Plateau state or part of Nigeria in the counter coup. He couldn't say that. So it was a reprisal coup against the Igbos, and the Igbos were not only killed as military officers, their businesses were destroyed across Nigeria. And the Aburi Accord, which he has misrepresented.
So Nigerian forces carefully went about during the counter coup to destroy businesses belonging to Igbo people across Nigeria. Anywhere they saw it in Nigeria, they destroyed their businesses. What did these people do? They did nothing, simply because there was a coup and it wasn't organized by Igbos.
His interview is the greatest travesty. One was that I worked with Ojukwu for 5 years, and I asked him questions about these things, and including Aburi Accord. He told me that at Aburi, they all agreed to confederation. Confederation means that the regions will become confederate states, and every region will continue to develop at its own pace. That's the sense of the meaning of confederation. And then when they agreed on all this, that General Ankara carried himself, General Ankara and Gowon and Ojukwu were at the back of the same car when they were being taken to the airport. And that Ankara took Gowon's hand and Ojuku's hand, put them together, and said that they should go and implement the agreements of this.
Good, that they should go and implement the Aburi Accord. This criminal didn't object to it. He accepted. All right, he accepted the Aburi Accord. It wasn't imposed on him, it wasn't forced upon him. It was a peace accord organized by General Ankara of Ghana as at then. And the man told them to please go and implement this because It was just all about what they call today restructuring, confederation, where the confederated states would develop at their pace. Are you following it? So that was what happened. But what happened later when they came back to Nigeria, you will hear for yourself.
this Aburi, and he told Gowon right there. Juku said he told Gowon that if Gowon gets home and announces the agreement reached here, that he will be the first person to propose Gowon as the head of state of Nigeria. And when they all left, they came back to Nigeria. Days went by, Gowon didn't announce anything. He didn't address the nation on what they agreed in Aburi. In Gowon's account yesterday, I was shocked to hear him say that when he returned, he had malaria.
When he returned, he had malaria. What sort of joke is that? He came back to Nigeria and developed malaria. And because of malaria, he could not address the nation to address the issue they discussed at Aburi, which was all about bringing peace. Let me tell us the secret of this whole thing. The secret is that the southeastern part of Nigeria then was developing economically and technologically at a very high pace. The GDP of the then southeastern part of Nigeria was growing at the rate of 60% every year, 60% per year. That thing was a threat to Britain. Britain was seeing that, hey, it's like another Japan we shoot out in Africa and we come up to challenge us. So they were looking for every possible means to destroy this region so they don't develop. Okay. So it is this hate, this evil mind of Britain that they use to corrupt the mind of this man that is suffering the shadow of himself today. Look at him. He doesn't know how to say the truth. So it was what they implanted in him and made him, deceived him into going into a very senseless war where he stained his hand with blood till today. And then he said when he came back from Nigeria, he developed malaria. What type of malaria is that?
And because he had fever, he delayed his announcing the agreements reached in Aburi. So at his age, he didn't need to start lying. When he came back, his advisors told him to renege on all the things agreed in Aburi. So it was Gowon who plunged the country into that civil war. It was
Exactly.
because he refused to announce the agreements reached in Aburi. Ojukwu waited for him, and things were not getting better. And Ojukwu now, well, I don't even think that he made a formal broadcast. He leaked the agreements reached in Aburi, and he was still waiting on Gowon to do the needful. Gowon now said that if Ojukwu had not said the things agreed in Aburi, then there wouldn't be anyone that he would have said the same thing by himself. But if not for malaria that he was suffering from. So
That if not for the malaria that was disturbing him, he would have said exactly the same thing Ojukwu said. Ojukwu simply told the people what they agreed on at Aburi, and he didn't do anything wrong because he waited for the man and the man refused to talk. I mean, go on.
I think he has not done what he should be doing at this late stage of his life.
Yeah.
It is time for him to begin to speak the truth, to heal the wounds of that war. Everybody has moved on. The war is 55 years today that it ended. But to come back at 91 years of age and tell these obvious lies means that he is not thinking about how to live Nigeria in peace. He said he fought for Nigeria to be one. That's what he said. That the reason for fighting the civil war was to keep Nigeria as one. Is Nigeria one today? Nigeria is
From
not one
where?
today.
How can Nigeria be one today? He fought to keep Nigeria one. Is it how to keep people one as one? If you want people to be one, you bring them to a negotiation table and let them agree on terms on how to be one. Not to go and begin to unalive people in mass with bombing civilian spaces with bomb, destroyed hospitals, destroyed primary schools, destroyed all manner of different schools, okay, destroyed markets, destroyed villages with bomb. And he said it was a move to unite the people. What type of unity is that you do by unaliving people in millions? This man is a war criminal and should be arrested and punished, prosecuted and punished accordingly. That's the best thing that should happen to him.
The president was in Benue yesterday, where people of his own zone are being slaughtered on daily basis in the past years. So what has he done to make Nigeria a better country? So
His own people from Plateau State are being attacked by Fulani herdsmen. And is that the unity he brought to Nigeria? I mean, oh God.
I think that I still challenge him again to write his own truthful account of what happened in Nigeria under his watch, so that truth is an open word. Conscience is an open word. Only the truth will heal it. So he should stop running around. Let him come out boldly and say sorry to the Igbo people of Nigeria. Because remember, the coup brought out to Awolowo from prison. And instead of using Awolowo to unite Nigeria, he brought him and made him Federal Commissioner for Finance. Under his
You see the issue. Okay, so after the coup, when Ojukwu was made the military administrator of the southeastern region, Ojukwu released Awolowo from prison because Awolowo was imprisoned by Tafawa Balewa during a crisis that ensued there at the western region of Nigeria, where the Fulani oligarch supported Akintola, the assistant of um, of um, um, of Awolowo. And so, because they didn't want Awolowo, because Awolowo was an intelligent man, they arrested him and imprisoned him in Calabar. Calabar was under Southeastern Zone. So, when Ojukwu became the military administrator after the first coup of 15 January 1966, he released Awolowo. But instead of this criminal here to use Awolowo to make peace, because Awolowo was the reason the coup was carried out in the first place, because they wanted Awolowo to be the president in order to make Nigeria better, because that man was a good administrator. All right. So, but this criminal here took Awolowo and enticed him with political position, made him the finance minister of Nigeria then, and brought him over to their side and used Awolowo to fight Biafra. That was how they made Awolowo an enemy of Biafra.
government. And they started driving economic policies that were aimed at exterminating the Igbos in Nigeria. So he was the person who laid the foundation for all these problems we're having. And he was the one who brought the Southeast, the Igbos and the Yorubas, at crossroads. Mistrust came in because Awolowo was released by Ojukwu after when the problem of Biafra was declared. So in trying to gather people, he now brought Gowon. Instead of uniting the country, he made him Federal Commissioner for Finance. He knows the purpose for that.
No, he made a mistake. He said he brought Gowon. It was actually Gowon that brought Awolowo, okay, into his government and made him Federal Commissioner for Finance. That is Minister for Finance in today's balance.
And we have paid dearly for it. We don't want to be insulted more because doing these things will aggravate our wound. We want to bury the wounds from the past. So let him stop speaking. If he doesn't want to say the truth, let him go and write his own book so that when he's no more, his book will be circulated and he will be judged. Ojukwu is not alive to join issue with him. When Ojukwu was alive, he was talking. The ones refused to talk. And now that he's talking, it's very unfortunate. T.Y. Danjuma is still alive. He was the one that led.
Okay, so he's talking about T.Y. Danjuma right now. He's also another war criminal that should be arrested and prosecuted and imprisoned. Okay, listen to what T.Y. Danjuma did. He was one of those who led the war to Biafra and massacred innocent women and children.
The arrest of Gowon and his unfortunate, arrest and his unfortunate assassination. So I don't know what T.Y. will be thinking after hearing Gowon that he wasn't part of the coup.
So T.Y. Danjuma was one of those who led the arrest of Aguiyi, okay, in January 1966. So, and this man is claiming that he didn't know what happened. And just all of a sudden, after T.Y. Danjuma and co arrested Aguiyi and unalived him, he found himself in government house. What a liar. So how does he think T.Y. Danjuma will be feeling hearing him say all these lies, tell all these lies in the public? It's unfortunate.
He didn't know anything about what happened in Nigeria and suddenly saw himself as head of state of Nigeria. How can somebody say this type of thing? So what is he trying to say for us to believe? So thank you very much.
Okay, so that was about it, about an old man that lies more than the devil. People of, you know, people of Biafra, people of Igbo extraction, see the people you want to share the same country with. A big time liar, somebody who has no remorse at all for the evil he did to a set of people. He unalived 3 million persons, more than that, and up till now, he is still running round and round, applying cosmetic and not hitting the nail on the head, trying to mend the evil he did. This man needs to be prosecuted and jailed. So that's the issue we have decided to look into now. And that is to inform you that that place called Nigeria is not a place for you to be if you are an Igbo person, because the hate has not even ended. It has continued up to today. They still hate Igbos. I don't know the reason why some Igbos, more especially so-called educated people, continue to sound politically correct that we should remain in that space, seeing the hate all around us. Everywhere you go, you see hate. Just say anything and they will interpret it anyhow. A Fulani man will come out and threaten to unalive a community and nothing will happen. A Yoruba man during 2023 election, MC Olomo threatened to unalive Igbos in Lagos, and he did it and nothing happened. The police, when he said it and the report went to the police simply dismissed it as a mere threat. Eventually, it wasn't a mere threat. People were unalived. But a man, the Eze of Ajao Estate, just said that they are tired of this attack on their markets in Lagos and said that they will invite ESN to come and begin to guard and protect their markets. That man was arrested immediately and taken to prison. He's still in prison till today, since 2023. And this is the country that people of Igbo extraction continue to insist that they should remain in. I don't know what is wrong with your brains if you're an Igbo man still reasoning like this. The worst are obedient members. They won't say the truth. They won't condemn this type of thing. All they are after is let P2B enter there so that they will take ministerial positions. So Chidi Wanyanwu, that one is looking for Showore to be the president so that he will take his own position. All of them are gearing towards stealing from the economy and enriching themselves and their families. Where are they? Dr. Damages, always sounding politically correct. We want a better Nigeria. Where are they? They are there, and every evil, hate, attack by Fulani herdsmen are going on here and there. Even when it happens in their own communities, they don't talk. But once there is a speculation that Biafra agitators have caused a problem, they will quickly come and publish it, add pepper, add salt, add maggi, and paint the agitators black. We need Biafra. And if you're an Igbo person there, wherever you are hearing my voice, you need Biafra. There are no two ways about it. Come and support the struggle. You don't have to sit behind. Come and participate. Other countries where you are enjoying abroad in Europe and America, they also fought like this. They participated. They didn't sit on the fence to make it happen. So you must come and participate and make it happen. All right? Thank you for watching so far, and do have a nice day. Bye for now.